A frog a day, it might sound like the beginning of a quirky fairy tale, but believe it or not, this was once considered a legitimate medical practice. Imagine swallowing a live frog. Yes, you heard that right. In some ancient cultures, people believed that ingesting a live frog could cure various ailments, including headaches. The idea was that the frog would absorb the illness or the evil spirits causing the pain. That's what people once did to cure a headache. Sounds crazy, right? But back then, the understanding of medicine and the human body was very different from what it is today. People were desperate for relief and willing to try almost anything, no matter how bizarre it might seem to us now. But in the past, people didn't have the same medical knowledge we have today. They relied on trial and error, folklore, and the limited scientific understanding of their time. Medical practitioners often turned to nature, using plants, animals, and minerals in their treatments. They believed that these natural elements had the power to heal. They tried all sorts of strange and sometimes scary things to get better, from bloodletting with leeches to trepanation, where holes were drilled into the skull to release evil spirits. The history of medicine is filled with practices that seem terrifying by modern standards. Yet these methods were the best options available to people at the time. The use of frogs in medicine wasn't limited to swallowing them whole. In some cultures, frogs were applied directly to the skin, or their body parts were used in concoctions believed to have healing properties. For example, frog skin was sometimes used in poultices to treat wounds and infections. These practices might seem outlandish now, but they were based on the best knowledge available at the time. Ancient healers observed the natural world and experimented with different treatments, gradually building a body of knowledge that would eventually lead to the more advanced medical practices we have today. It's fascinating to look back and see how far we've come. Modern medicine has its roots in these early, often rudimentary practices. While we may laugh or cringe at the idea of swallowing a live frog, it's important to remember that these early efforts laid the groundwork for the sophisticated medical treatments we benefit from today. Today, we have a much deeper understanding of the human body and the causes of illness. We benefit from centuries of scientific research and technological advancements. But it's worth remembering that the journey to modern medicine was a long and often strange one, filled with curious and sometimes frightening practices. So the next time you take an aspirin for a headache, think about the incredible journey of medical discovery that brought us to this point. From swallowing live frogs to advanced pharmaceuticals, the history of medicine is a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless quest for better health. The unknown world inside, a realm shrouded in mystery and intrigue, hidden beneath layers of skin and bone. For centuries, humanity has been fascinated by what lies within our own bodies, yet for the longest time it remained an enigma. For centuries, the human body was a mystery. Ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and Greeks made early attempts to understand it, but their knowledge was limited. They created detailed drawings and charts, trying to map out the human anatomy, but much of it was based on speculation and rudimentary dissections. People could see the outside, but the inside was like a foreign land. Doctors and healers of the past could only guess at what was happening beneath the surface. They relied on external symptoms to diagnose and treat ailments, often with mixed results. The lack of understanding led to a myriad of misconceptions and superstitions about the human body. They didn't have the tools to understand how organs worked or what caused diseases. Early medical instruments were crude and often more harmful than helpful. Surgical procedures were performed without anesthesia, and the risk of infection was high. The concept of germs and bacteria was unknown, and many believed that diseases were caused by imbalances in bodily fluids or even evil spirits. Imagine trying to fix a car engine without knowing anything about mechanics. This was the challenge faced by early physicians. They were like mechanics working in the dark, trying to repair a complex machine without understanding how its parts functioned together. Each new discovery was a small step forward, but the journey was long and arduous. The Renaissance brought a renewed interest in the human body. Scholars like Leonardo da Vinci began to study anatomy in greater detail, conducting dissections and creating more accurate representations of the human form. These efforts laid the groundwork for future advancements in medical science. The invention of the microscope in the 17th century was a game changer. For the first time, scientists could see the tiny structures that make up our bodies. This led to the discovery of cells, the the building blocks of life, and opened up a whole new world of understanding. Today, we have advanced imaging technologies like MRI and CT scans that allow us to see inside the body with incredible detail. We can diagnose and treat diseases with a level of precision that would have been unimaginable to our ancestors. The journey to understand the unknown world inside us is far from over. As technology continues to advance, we are uncovering new mysteries and finding innovative ways to improve human health. The more we learn, the more we realize how much there is still to discover. Our understanding of the human body has come a long way, but it is the curiosity and determination of those who came before us that paved the way. Their relentless pursuit of knowledge has brought us to where we are today, and it will continue to drive us forward into the future. The unknown world inside is a testament to human ingenuity and the unending quest for knowledge. It reminds us that there is always more to learn, more to explore, and more to understand about ourselves and the world we live in. When logic failed. Without proper knowledge, people relied on what they could see and feel. If someone had a fever, they were considered too hot. A bloody nose meant they had too much blood. These observations, though simple, led to some very strange treatments. Bloodletting, a cure-all? It might sound bizarre to us today, but for centuries this was a common medical practice. The idea was simple yet profound. By removing a certain amount of blood from a patient, doctors believed they could cure or prevent a wide range of ailments. One of the most popular treatments was bloodletting. This practice dates back to ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans. They all believed that the balance of bodily fluids, or humors, was essential for good health. Bloodletting was thought to restore this balance. Doctors believed that removing bad blood could cure everything from headaches to the plague. They thought that many illnesses were caused by an excess of blood or by blood that had become corrupted in some way. By letting out this bad blood, they hoped to restore the body's natural harmony. They made cuts in the skin or used leeches to suck the blood out. Leeches were particularly popular because they were thought to be more precise and less painful than cutting. In fact, leeches were so widely used that they were often bred specifically for medical purposes. Yeah, it sounds pretty wild, but that's what they did. Bloodletting was not just a fringe practice, it was mainstream medicine for centuries. Even some of the most famous physicians in history, like Hippocrates and Galen, advocated for it. It wasn't until the 19th century that the practice began to fall out of favor as new medical knowledge and techniques emerged. But for a long time, bloodletting was seen as a cure-all, a go-to treatment for almost any ailment. The practice was based on the ancient theory of the four humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. According to this theory, an imbalance in these humors caused disease. Bloodletting was thought to help rebalance the humors, thereby restoring health. Despite its widespread use, bloodletting was not without its critics. Some physicians and scholars questioned its effectiveness and safety. Over time, as medical science advanced, the practice was scrutinized more closely. Studies began to show that bloodletting could be harmful, leading to infections, anemia, and even death in some cases. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, bloodletting had largely fallen out of favor. New medical discoveries, such as the understanding of germs and the development of vaccines, provided more effective and safer treatments for many diseases. However, the history of bloodletting serves as a fascinating example of how medical practices evolve over time. Today, we have a much better understanding of the human body and disease, thanks to centuries of medical research and advancements. While bloodletting is no longer a common practice, it remains an important part of medical history, reminding us of how far we've come in our quest to understand and treat illness. So the next time you visit a doctor, be grateful for the advancements in medical science that have made treatments safer and more effective. Bloodletting may seem like a relic of the past, but it played a crucial role in the development of modern medicine. And who knows, perhaps future generations will look back at some of our current medical practices with the same sense of wonder and disbelief. The journey of medical science is ongoing, and each step, no matter how strange it may seem, brings us closer to better health and understanding. In the end, the story of bloodletting is a testament to human curiosity and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. It shows us that even the most well-intentioned practices can be flawed, but they also pave the way for future discoveries and improvements. And that, perhaps, is the true cure-all, the never-ending quest for better understanding and better health. Mercury, a shiny liquid metal, was another popular cure. People drank it, rubbed it on their skin, and even used it to treat wounds. They didn't know that mercury was actually a poison. Why did people believe in these strange treatments? Imagine being very sick with no cure in sight. You'd try anything to get better, right? People were desperate for relief, and these unusual practices offered hope, even if they weren't based on scientific evidence. Sadly, many of these treatments did more harm than good. Bloodletting often weakened patients, and mercury poisoning caused serious health problems. It's a stark reminder that good intentions without proper knowledge can have dangerous consequences. Thankfully, over time, things began to change. Scientists developed new tools like microscopes to see tiny germs. They discovered how diseases spread and developed effective treatments. Modern medicine, based on evidence and research, was born. Looking back at these bizarre medical practices might seem funny or even shocking, but they offer a valuable lesson. Never stop questioning, exploring, and searching for knowledge. So the next time you hear about a strange historical fact, don't just dismiss it. Ask yourself, why did they do that? You might be surprised by what you discover about the past and how far we've come.